Well, indeed, to basically give us further insight of what exactly is happening in the financial sector in this country, both, of course, in matters finance, matters insurance, and other areas of the financial services sector. Like I said earlier, 3 actuaries standing by. Karibu sana, lady and gentlemen. Now, the most interesting thing to happen recently is, of course, the fact that we now have an actuarial academy in the region. And this is something that for many people might not raise eyebrows, but is something really big for this sector. I'll start off with you, Mukami, the fact that we really haven't managed to train a lot of actuaries in the past.
Thank you, and thank you for having us on the show. Yeah, we're very excited to be launching the Actuarial Academy of East Africa. We, as the Actuarial Society of Kenya, have been in formation for the last 16 years. And really, we've seen the need to offshoot the training and education arm into the Actuarial Academy. And it's something we're doing regionally because we've seen that Kenya currently is representative of the only qualified actuaries in the region. So we have just over 30 qualified actuaries. Actually, we have 38 qualified actuarial members, but some are based in South Africa. So the ones in Kenya are currently around 30. And when we look at the other East African countries, we see the lack of that capacity. So this academy is actually established to be able to support the up-and-coming actuaries through the qualification process that the other members have gone through.
I hasten to remind our viewers that you are the secretary of the entire organization, the Actuarial Society of Kenya. How come we're not training as many as we should? We have literally 5-6 universities with this class. They start off at 200-300 people per year. What happens along the way?
Well, you can say we're not training as many as we should, but we've come a long way. We've come from, I think when I was in university, less than 5 actuaries in the country. So we can actually see that our growth has been somewhat exponential. Why not as many people are qualifying is because A, the path to qualification is a strenuous one. You have to pass 15 actuarial professional examinations, which are internationally certified. And that process can be a bit grueling, and we see people, I would say, falling by the wayside. So I think it requires a lot of passion and determination in terms of attaining that qualification.
I want you to hold that thought right there, to bring in Murad. The fact that you're able to give us the international perspective. You are the country director for the Financial Services Volunteer Corps. This is supported by USAID. What exactly is the international perspective on this matter?
Well, the international perspective is that, first of all, thanks to USA, this allows us to add an international component to our work. We've been present in East Africa since 2011, focusing on strengthening and harmonizing the regional financial ecosystem. And we've been focusing on 3 key areas, which is pensions, insurance, and microfinance. And I think in all 3 areas, directly or indirectly, the actuarial science can play a very influential role. And we teamed up with a task for about a year to help them not only build their capacity, but through the provision of experts like Holly, give them an international perspective on how to go about developing this the actuarial science regionally.
Okay, I want to bring you in at this point, Holly. You are a volunteer with the program, the Financial Services Volunteer Corps. And the perspectives that have just been shared, the fact that Kenya and mostly East Africa, and indeed the whole African continent, not being as well serviced in this field as it should be.
Right.
What does that mean to our financial services?
Well, there's, I think, 2 things I'd want to highlight. One, that Kenya, while it only has 30 internationally credentialed actuaries, is far ahead of the East African community. So we're looking to them through the Actuarial Academy to grow the number of actuaries in Kenya, but also, and I'll give you 2 examples. There is a woman I've worked with in Tanzania who only needs support from a credentialed actuary to finish passing her exams. The same is true of a gentleman in Burundi. So to me, this idea of the Actuarial Academy, very forward-thinking on behalf of the society, is going to strengthen the insurance sector in Kenya as well as the region. Now, why should someone care who's not, what's the big deal for a consumer in Kenya or a consumer in the East African community?
Yes.
Actuaries help in two ways. One, they make sure that the consumer pays the right price, pays what they're supposed to, given. So if I'm a good driver,
Yes.
I should pay less than a bad driver. And it's actuaries who help insurance companies figure that out. If I'm a consumer, I want my company and all companies in Kenya to invest in Kenya, right? I want my money going back to make the economy better. Actuaries help companies understand how much money they have to invest, how much they can put back in the country. And when you do that, it's clearly to the benefit of a Kenyan citizen to have money invested back in the country.
I want to pick on something you just said, that for example, bad drivers, to focus on insurance first, should basically be paying more. Two notorious classes right here in Kenya, one, matatus, and several companies recently came out and said they wouldn't insure a certain class of BMWs and Subaru cars, the lighter versions. So there is a problem here. But the insurance companies are going after this with a big stick rather than simply saying you pay a bigger premium. What is the disconnect?
Well, the disconnect is trying to measure risk. So the actuaries will be looking at the auto insurance market.
Yes.
There are actuaries in each of the companies in
Yes.
Kenya right now.
Yes.
And they're going to look at that and they're trying to say what risk is presented and how do I price it given the car, given the driver's history. So it's going on in the companies now. And then you also have the Kenyan Regulatory Authority for Insurance, and they're going to make sure the consumer's protected. So the company out here is going to say, this is the price I want to set, and the regulatory authority is concerned with whether that price is fair.
I want to come back to you, Murad. The fact that this has been an area that's been a real sticking point for the region. Penetration of insurance at 2.96%. Until very recently, financial services in terms of maybe banking and deposit, credit, that sort of thing, not really having much penetration outside of M-Pesa. What do you think the program can do to be able to sort of speed things up, ensure that we start to see more of these innovations playing a key role in pushing these services out to the people?
Right, well, if you look at East Africa and East Africans, they're very technologically savvy.
Yes.
If you look at how successful M-Pesa is here, as opposed to some of these products have had a harder time taking off in other countries. Just the fact that people transact through their mobile phone means that this is a very easy medium for insurers, for example, for pensions, for banks generally to offer products through this. And this is one of the mediums that this can be launched, and I think it can happen in East Africa.
Mumbe, I want to come to you and the fact that this is a program, and it seems that it's just starting off. What do we need to do to ensure that first there is support across the board? We hear of a financial services authority coming up in the not too distant future. How do we make this an integral part of something like that? The fact that we have a banking school that trains bankers around the Central Bank of Kenya. So what do we need to literally mainstream actuaries into this sort of sector?
Yeah, thank you for that, and I think that's an important issue.
Yes.
I think what we need to do and what we have started doing is engaging the regulators in Kenya and in the region in terms of having memorandum of understanding between the academy and the regulators in terms of what the academy will provide and how the academy will help to upskill the market. I know the other thing that the Actuarial Society is doing is inputting into the FSA bill. So there's a proposal we put in place, or we've suggested that there should be a government actuarial department, yes, in the FSA, and that can really drive or encourage what the academy is doing across the region. And if it's also pitched at a EASA level, then it's something that we can do EAC-wide with all the regulators on board. And that's part of the work we're doing this week in terms of engaging with the regulators and coming up with MOUs that we can get on board on. Yeah.
I want to come back to you, Murad, very quickly for a parting shot. The fact that at 2.96 penetration for insurance, there's still a huge potential out there. What's the one key thing we need to get right for the insurance sector? And of course, extrapolating that for the other parts of the financial sector.
I think other than devising or the appropriate insurance products,
New products.
new products, be it agriculture,
Yes.
health, life, just a broad range, but most importantly, getting those to the end consumer.
Yes.
How do you reach the end consumer, and how do you raise awareness about the importance of such products?
You are where the rubber definitely, literally meets the road. What do you think needs to get done so that we can see, if we say 5 to 10 years, we have made literally good progress on the aspects such as this?
Market penetration is key. We want Kenyan consumers and consumers in the region to have access to a wide range of products. So in the next 5 years, I'm hoping, because of the development of actuaries, that they help design new products. So we can get better fire products, flood products, things that make a difference in people's lives. So in the next 5 to 10 years, with the growth of actuaries through the academy, I think you'll see new products available, and that will help the average Kenyan.
Okay. Thank you indeed very much for taking the time to talk to us, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
It's an interesting conversation, and one that is really important to us here. The fact that the financial service penetration continues to be a key sticking point for this region. We'll definitely be checking in on you to see how well you're pushing that. Now, moving on